Are you stuck trying to make the right decision whether you should lease or buy your next car? Making the right choice could save you thousands of dollars. Leasing a vehicle comes with a lot of different options, while purchasing the vehicle over a long-term loan gives you more ownership and the potential to have equity. I'm going to break it down in this video so that you can make the right decision for yourself. We're going to get started right now. So the big picture is, what's the difference? Why should you ever consider leasing a car over financing it or paying cash? So the pros of leasing are very simple. Typically, you have lower payments. The vehicle's under warranty for the entire time that you have the lease, because you only lease the car for 2 to 4 years. I recommend 2 to 3, unless you have a vehicle that has a 4-year bumper-to-bumper warranty. That creates fewer repair costs, because if you have a vehicle that's under warranty, you don't have to deal with the repairs. Another pro of leasing is that if you really love the car, you do have the option to buy the car at the end. Cons of leasing: mileage limits. If you do not set up your lease properly, you could have a lot of stress and confusion, and you could end up owing a lot of money at the end of the lease. So it's imperative that you get that vehicle set up properly. You could potentially have fees for wear and tear, excessive wear and tear. The rule is, if the vehicle should be repaired by the insurance company, if it has that type of damage, then they're probably going to charge you for it. If it has rock chips or something like that, that's what's considered normal wear and tear, so you probably wouldn't have to worry about it. Another con is that you don't own the car. You're only paying for the use of the car for a specific amount of time. One last con is that it can be costly to get out early. Now let's talk about the buying pros and cons. Pros: you can build equity. There's no mileage restrictions, more flexibility and customization of the vehicle. If you want to sell or trade, you have those types of things that you can deal with, because you actually are working towards owning that car. Cons: typically higher monthly payment or initial cash offering. You're going to have to pay for the entire amount, or the payments are going to be higher because you're financing a larger portion of money instead of the actual use that you're doing with the lease. Long-term maintenance and repair costs, those are going to be all on you because you have chosen to own the car. And then faster depreciation in the early years. Loans are set up where you're paying off the taxes, you're paying off all of the interest that's front-loaded, and the car is going to depreciate faster than you can pay it off. So how can you make a good decision whether leasing or buying is right for you? So some of the key factors are: how many miles do you drive per year? And it's amazing how many people I talk to that don't even have that in their mind. And it's not something that you're commonly tracking. But if you're going to get into a 12,000 mile a year lease, it's important to know, do you drive more than 1,000 miles a month? So how can you figure that out? Go back and look at the paperwork from when you purchased the car and look at the date. And then do the mathematics on how many miles you've put on that car, if it's just normal driving and you haven't done anything crazy. And then you can figure out exactly how many miles you're driving per month. Another key factor to consider is, do you want a new car every few years? Do you like the idea of not having a car that's going to have major repairs done or anything that you have to pay for? If you like that, you should consider leasing. How long do you typically keep your car? The rule that we use is 8 years. So if you're going to keep the car longer than 8 years, purchasing is probably a more beneficial avenue for you to go. I would not recommend that you lease the car and then, because the payments are cheaper, and then try to buy the car later and keep it for longer than 8 years. The amount of interest and payments that you're going to make on that vehicle are going to far exceed what it would have cost you if you were to just set up a long-term loan and kept the car for 8 years. Another key factor is monthly budget. So you just have to look at the facts. If the vehicle is going to cost you too much to own versus lease, leasing has to be put on the table so you can consider it. Some people say that if you own a business, leasing a car could be beneficial. I'm not a fan of that at all. The reason being is I have sold cars for cash to people and they can still write it off in their businesses. I have set up loans for people who purchase cars for their business and they get the same tax benefits. Leasing is very simple. Either you can write off the payment or the mileage. Let's say you're a real estate agent and you drive a lot and you calculate your miles and it exceeds what the payment is, then you want to write off the miles. But if you don't want to do all of that mathematics, you could just basically lease the car and write off whatever your payment is per month. So I haven't found anybody that purchased or leased that got a better benefit, even though people always talk about leasing being better for people who have businesses. I haven't figured that out. I think the answer really is you need a good accountant, and they can help you figure out exactly what's going to be best for your situation. So if you watch any of my videos in the past, I've talked about leasing a lot. We lease our car, one of them, and then we purchase one for cash. It's different for the situation and what you're going to be using the car for. And some cars just don't lease well. No matter what you do, if you fall in love with a vehicle that has bad residuals, it's just difficult to get that car at a monthly budget that will be beneficial for anybody. So sometimes you have to change what you're actually looking at. Maybe find a vehicle that's going to fit your lifestyle and check most of the boxes that has a very beneficial lease payment. We had a client a month ago that wanted to lease a Kia Telluride, and the payments for the mileage that he wanted to drive, which is 20,000 miles a year, were about $900 a month. And we found out that you could actually get into a plug-in Mazda CX-90 with huge benefits and rebates, and the payment was around $650. So very similar price points on the vehicles. He still got 20,000 miles a year to drive. He just had to make an adjustment and move over. I can't say that he actually loves that car versus the Kia, because they really like the sporty look of the vehicle, but they made a good business decision. They didn't have to spend an extra $300 a month to get into a vehicle. And that's super beneficial when you're looking at the leasing. Pick cars that fit your budget, and that'll help you make better decisions. If you're unsure which route you want to take, you can always reach out to me directly by messaging me in the comments or DMing me. We'd love to help you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great day.